In this video we will look at the trig ratios reciprocals. Now we know our trig ratios as sine, cos and tan. Now furthermore we also get the ratios which are cot theta, sec theta and cosec theta. Now the relationship between these and our original ones are that if we connect them in this way, where we say sine theta and then connect it to cosec theta, sine theta and cosec theta are each other's reciprocals, cos theta and sec theta are each other's reciprocals, and then tan theta and cot theta are each other's reciprocals. Now the relationship between these are as follows. We have that sine theta is equal to 1 over cosec theta, and cos theta is equal to 1 over sec theta, tan theta is equal to 1 over cot theta. And then obviously we can also write it that cosec theta is equal to 1 over sine theta and so on. Now this actually gives us a bigger picture of all the trig ratios, because if you look at it, it's sine theta and then it's the co-function of sine. So these two are actually co-functions. These are co-functions and these are your reciprocals. So we have sine and then cosine. Then we have tan and then cotan. And then we have sec and cosec. So if we look at practical examples, how are we going to use these reciprocals? For example 1, now this is cosec. You can also write it like CSC instead of writing out cosec. Now we have to find the value of cosec 45, but we have a problem because if we look on the calculator, like we did with our previous trig ratios, the cosec is not on the calculator. So before we can actually work it out, we have to write it in terms of its reciprocal. Now if we look at the reciprocals, we see that cosec belongs to sine, and that means I can rewrite cosec as 1 over sine 45. And then what happens is I just type that into the calculator. So we have 1 over sine of 45, and that gives me square root of 2. Right, then for example 2, we have cot 30. So cot and tan goes together, which means I can rewrite cot as 1 over tan of 30, and then type that into the calculator. 1 over tan of 30, and that's square root of 3. Next we have example 3, we have sec 60. So sec and cos goes together, so sec 60 is also equal to 1 over cos of 60. Type it in. And that is equal to 2. Alright, now example 4 are the types we will most likely expect. So in this case we have sine 60, which we already know. We can just type that one in, except for the square here. As we saw in a previous video, when we have a square, this actually this is just the notation, how we write it, but it's actually squaring the entire ratio. So that's going to be sine 60 all squared, and then minus sine 45. Okay, now here we have sec. So we're going to replace sec because sec is one of our reciprocals. So sec and cos goes together, meaning I'm going to write sec as 1 over cos 45. And then tan is also squared, so I'm going to write that as tan 30. And that's all squared. Okay, so as we see it now it's in a now we're in a position to basically just type all of this into the calculator. And we can type it just the way we see it there. So sine 60. Just remember closing the smaller bracket and then closing the bigger bracket and squaring it, and then minus sine of 45, and then times by, you can either type in times or you can put it in brackets. So 1 over cos 45, close the small brackets and then the bigger brackets, and then times that with, so open a new bracket, tan 30, and close your brackets and square. Right, so that equals 7 over 6. And this was then the last example, then we are done.